ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, filmmakers, entrepreneurs, people of the world. What do we say, David?
Content creators.
Content creators.
All around good people.
All around good people. Welcome to Film Hustlers.
Boom.
Boom. We have, we are now on video. So if you're watching us on YouTube, is that what you call this video?
We are now on video.
We are now on video, on film. We're filming. If you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe, like, comment, whatever people do in this business. But yeah, definitely do that. My name is Mark Roberts. I'm one of your hosts. I got Rod Tootie Rinks here, who is also your host. We're both filmmakers.
Are we though?
Yeah, we really are.
I know.
Yeah, he's made some movies, some great movies at that. I also don't want to get started without saying that Davey Dave is also here. He's just not on camera.
What up? What up?
What's up, Davey Dave?
What's up, Davey?
Handling the ones and twos in the camera. Thank you so much. And I've been doing it for about 30 years, raising money, foreign distribution, all these businesses that don't exist anymore. I'm just kidding. There's still foreign distribution. I'll call Clay Epstein right now. And he'll tell you about it. But no, they are distributing movies all over the world still, but it's not the same as it used to be. So we cover filmmaking, raising money, where's the money at, where are the jobs at, how to get the jobs. And we also, on occasion, talk to guests that give you a look into how to get certain gigs on movies. But our guest today is Robert Wise. Robert Wise is a production designer, extremely talented production designer. How many films are you in the world record? Are you a world record holder?
I am in consideration right now with Guinness Book of World Record for the most Christmas movies shot in a year, which would be 7.
7 Christmas movies shot in 1 year.
Mark, thank you. 2 of them were for you.
Hey, there you go. That's awesome. Well, Robert Wise is here. He's a production designer. He's being considered for the world record in the most Christmas movies shot in 1 year. And you really shot them in 6 months, I'll bet. Right?
Well, we started with you in March, and then I shot up until almost the week before Christmas started. It was a year-long process of getting all those movies in, and including 2 other non-Christmas movies and a TV show.
Wow. Well,
you went through all the seasons then.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hot, cold, the whole bit.
Our business has lots of different jobs, and you can't always see them. When you're watching TV, like you can't see the production design, people walking around and putting stuff in. But clearly, when you watch a Christmas movie, those Christmas movies are not shot during Christmas. They're shot on all other, in June, on all other months. And it has to be, all the trees need to be brought in. All the snow needs to be brought in. All of the people that are, working in 80-degree weather, the actors have to put on jackets and scarves anyway.
I'm not wearing it, Roberts. I'm not wearing it. It's hot.
Yeah.
Lopez.
Hey, he wouldn't have this on. He wouldn't have a scarf on. I said, yeah, he actually would have the scarf on. You forgot my jacket. But it is a very important job on our movie. In fact, I think even on indie films, I think the art department is one of the largest departments on the movie in terms of people.
It's visual.
Yeah. But I'll give you an example. Like, I'm a producer. I do movies in the Christmas space and not in the Christmas space. And when I hire a production designer, I have to take a lot into consideration, right? I have to consider, does he have to rent everything? Does he have to buy everything and then send it back? I worked with a lot of people who literally ordered everything from Amazon on the film and then returned it all when the film was over. That's a crazy thing to do, but I have been part of that. And then, you got someone like Robert Wise who has like a truck of Christmas, extremely well organized. And he shows up and there's nothing you can ask him for that isn't in his truck or that he can't get cheaply. But for the most part, everything you provide to our movies, you own or have had about 90% of it, right?
Yes. Obviously, every movie is different, and props are their wild card because depending on how it's scripted, you're going to need to get things. You still need to purchase. You need to still find it and provide it for on screen.
It's it's an art, what you do. It's part of the arts. I think you can win an Academy Award for what you do, right?
Yes.
So tell us about how you got started.
I started as most people in the industry. People have this opinion, either you go in as a PA in the beginning or go to film school. 2 years, where are people at? It's a kind of a wild card unless you're like into the technical aspect, like a cinematographer, that you need to know very specific things. But a lot of people succeed by starting as a PA. You're at the low totem pole on the structure of a film set, and you're there getting paid minimum wage, going to get Starbucks for everyone in the crew, or whatever it may be, or go out and get, props or shop. I was the guy that anytime the director asked if I can do it, I was the first one to raise my hand. And, I started very small. And then, the director and I did a movie a music video for Blink-182, and it became a phenomenal success. The director got 3 MTV Music nominations, and all of a sudden we were on top of the world. We were doing all the pop punk music videos of that era. And
What video was it?
Small Things.
Oh, the small. They didn't know that, Jam. That was a good one.
That's amazing that you know that.
Come on.
I couldn't have sung it. So a director that blew up, you guys just kept working together and kept doing your thing?
Yes, in this industry you have a network, and you should not, networking sometimes is a bad name to put on something, but when like people come out of film school, you have your network of people that you come up with. And, like you and I, as a producer, you rely on me when you have a Christmas movie, and directors rely on me when they have a certain genre or they want to, go out and shoot something. So you should really value your relationships in this business. It's very important that, I was the guy, again, the low person on the totem pole, would run out and get Starbucks for people in the beginning. And now I'm running a whole art team, on pictures. Last year I spent 9 months on the road. This, Mark, I started with your movie, March of last year. The rental company gave me a brand new truck with 100 miles on it. By the time I gave it back 9 months later, it had 17,650 miles on it.
All over the country.
All over the country. I drove through 25 states or 23 states.
That's awesome. So when we do a movie, do you have stuff at home, and do you have more than can fit in that truck? I'm curious.
Oh, yes.
Yeah?
If I were to pack all my Christmas decor, I would probably have 7 trucks.
Wow.
And so when I do a movie, I think you've noted, because you try to double up on movies. And when I leave, I sometimes give you a call. I'm like, can you tell me about the second movie you're planning to do so I can pack my truck right? Because sometimes I might not come back to Los Angeles, where I'm based, to repack that truck for 2 movies back to back. So you've received those phone calls to me. I was like, okay, the second movie you're doing, can you tell me about it so I can know how to pack my truck correctly?
Yeah. Well,
You have a warehouse, Robert? Or where do you keep all this?
I have a lot of stuff everywhere.
Okay.
Like I collect motorcycles. Like I have 27 motorcycles, which are all over my living room, my house, and I had to build extension to put all my Christmas decor.
Wow.
As well. And then I do a lot of Lifetime thrillers, so I have like something like 350 guns that I have a special room for, that I house them.
I want to go to your house.
The art department is interesting because we have the cool things on set.
Yeah.
Depending on what you do, what kind of movie. Christmas movie, it's not that, we have Christmas gear. But when I do these sci-fi movies, or if I do these shootout movies, I have some really interesting things: bazookas, machine guns.
Yeah.
And of course, everybody wants to touch them, but obviously, there's a protocol, like who can touch what, and we try to keep that professional.
Yeah.
art department has to be there the day before we're shooting there, right? Because they got to build everything out, make it look perfect. And then you have to get there first thing in the morning so that you can start setting up things. And then you have to be the last one out, because when we're done shooting, you have to unload everything and break down, right?
The French have a term, mise en scène, which is literally to put in the scene. The art department is unique that anyone who watches any TV program or any movie, they're seeing the results. Everything on screen is a result of me and the decisions I make with my conversations with you, Mark, or the director, or other producers. And when that camera goes on and turns on and flickers, everything that camera captures is a result of my work.
Yep. So yeah, so I tell anybody, like, do it. Work with art department, put in your time. Work with camera, put in your time. All of these jobs are going to be really hard, but you're going to find something you like. And I guess when you worked and the director said, and you started working, how did you choose, or did it choose you?
I fell in it. I could have easily became a camera operator. You know, I just happen to have a lot of skills. I do a lot of home renovations. So when someone needs something done, I'm a MacGyver. I can make things happen. And, you know, I started before cell phones. So
MacGyver. Sorry, I had to do that.
I was able to, if a director needed a pink, you know, poodle within 2 hours on set, I'm going to find that pink poodle and put it on set.
Or you're going to paint one.
Now it's incredible. Like, you have people that sit on their cell phones, their smartphones, and can procure things so easily, where I had to make phone calls. I had to knock on people's doors. I had to go and search and find things for the film. And now it's so simple to sit there with your smartphone and get things done.
Yeah.
Just Google it.
Yeah. So,
Amazon.
hey, write down on your pencil and paper, Robert Weiss. He's your guy for your next show.
No, and you know, I was thinking recession proof, really. I mean, his type of job, you know, he can work in any features, TV, verticals. It doesn't matter. He's going to continue to work.
And another rule of success that I've abided by is just have a good attitude. Because what happens is, especially on a low budget or a tight shooting schedule, is you're forced to juggle things. You have to do it with a smiley face and just continue. And I always believe there is a solution for any problem. And I must say, money does solve problems.
Oh yeah.
And you know, I was
In everything.
yes, you know, I went through like a year. I was taken out of the business for a year. I was working personally for Kanye West to oversee a Sunday service, and every week was a production. And he's considered probably the hardest person to work for. No one survives. Everyone was amazed that I lasted for a whole year, but it didn't pose a problem for me because I had his American Express Black Card, and whatever he wanted, I was able to purchase.
Right.
You know, it's amazing how I would spend, like, say, $60,000 over a weekend to put a whole lighting array, and I turn the light on. He looks at it, he's like, I don't like it, and it was a waste of $60,000. And that's just one instance. I've wasted so much money, but he had an unlimited bank account, and again, money solves problems. However, most situations, that's not the case. So you have to really work and economize and use your mind to really figure out how to solve problems. And that's what I do.
That's one of the reasons that production designers go with you on location scouts. You know, they check out where you're going to shoot, how you're going to shoot, what side of the room you're going to shoot on. When you don't have a lot of money, like normally we don't, you have to decide what part of the room you're going to shoot first, right? Because you don't dress the entire space. This is important for all filmmakers if you're listening. You don't dress the entire room, right? You can't get there and decide where you're going to shoot unless you're willing to wait for it to be dressed. You decide beforehand, I'm going to shoot over here, I'm going to shoot over here, and then Robert, you come in and set that side. What happens if a director just comes in, you've already dressed this side, and they want to shoot that way?
Yeah, sometimes everything's a moving target. You know, you walk into space, you tech scouted ahead of time, and you plan to shoot a certain way or a certain area, and all of a sudden, blocking whatever it may be. Sometimes as an actor said it wouldn't be great to do this way, and then all of a sudden, everyone has a pivot. Everybody on set needs a pivot, and that's just reality. And again, that goes back to putting your good smile on and saying, "I'm going to solve this for us."
Well, you've always been really pleasant. I think not everyone is, by the way. It's a tough job, and I think when you're asked to pivot, not everyone likes to pivot like that. But I think you do have to consider that it is long hours. It's a very creative job. I think all of our jobs in film are very creative and fun, but they are like enormous dedications. Like, you really do have to dedicate your life to it. You have to put in a lot of effort and a lot of time with your relationships. I want to go back to something you said earlier because I think it helps a lot of people to know this. When you volunteer to do a job and you're really good at it, or at least you're reliable. I heard this recently that being reliable is a lot better than being talented. And I want to say that that's probably true, because when you're there, and you're available, then doing the job is more important than like whether or not you have talent. But I think you've got to get out there.
You gotta have some talent. You can't like be.
Well, not every, I think most people have some talent,
Yeah,
but if you're
it's still-
there,
yeah.
if you're there, that's half the battle is just being there, right? A lot of
We're
people
in a
don't
people
get there.
business. Like Terrence Winter, who I admire, showrunner, writer, he said that he would much rather have a writer's room with average writers who are eager in there, wanting to work, wanting to do it, than a room full of like super talented writers who are just assholes and it's hard to get along with. Because we're together all day, every day for hours on end. So you have to be able to get along, and you have to be reliable. Like if someone doesn't show up, you need that person there, but they have to have some sort of ability.
I think most people do have talent, and I think when you add commitment to that, that you end up being a lot better,
You
than
get the
most.
call. And then you get the call back.
Yeah, you get the call. So I think volunteer, get out there, volunteer for free movies, verticals, whatever it is. I don't know, like whatever people are making these days. I don't know.
They're making everything, Robert. Come on.
I don't know. I was telling these guys, I'm sticking to my lane. I make movies, and I'm going to stick
That's
there.
not true. You're lying. You're making a talk show right now. They call these talk shows now.
See, I don't even know. You moving the
Savvy?
rug on me. I make movies. I'm going to keep making movies, and then when I can't make movies anymore, I guess I'll retire. But
Make it easy.
But I think for sure, volunteering, being part of a department, figuring out if you like that, and then I think what's really fascinating about what you said, and it happened to me too when I first started in the business. I worked on a movie called Three Amigos, and Dan Allingham, who was the UPM, went on to do 10 other movies. And man, I was on every one of those. Every time he got a movie, I got a call. And that went for like a couple of other producers I worked with. And I started to like what producers did, which is why I became a producer. But art department always stood out to me because they always had to be there changing the plates. Like if you rented a car, it'd have to have the right plates for the city that you live in. Art department has to work with wardrobe because colors, right, of things that you're putting up might contrast with colors that they're wearing, scarves. Doesn't all of that come into play with you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. Art department is like the Marine Corps. First one in, last one out.
Yeah.
And, the camera sets up and does their thing and leave. They came in to address set, which I did previously. And when they leave, I'm still there to break down the set. Speaking about, just people, working with people, you want to work with people with good attitudes.
Yeah.
I learned, when I got to finally be on set with bigger name talent, I got the opportunity to meet someone that I grew up just admiring. And then when I got on set with this person, the bad attitude just turned me off. It's like, why does this person even have a business in front of the camera when he's treating everyone behind the camera so badly? And, it's one of those hard moments where you're just like, oh, wow, that's something that I don't want to be part of. I don't want to be around this person.
But, there are certain directors that, they yell action, you cut, and then they immediately run over to like art department or camera or something like that. And sometimes the actors are just standing there going like,
what about me?
How'd I do? Like, how was that?
Yeah.
But everyone needs something a little bit different there. Some actors don't care. I saw a thing with Gene Hackman, and it was in the actor studio, and they said, what do you want from directors? And he was like, to not direct me. That was his answer. He's like, to just let me do my job.
Yeah.
And if I get off my mark or something happens, then you just kind of redirect me. He goes, because if they talk to me too much, all I'm doing is thinking about what they said rather than thinking about the character I do. So all that to say, every department needs certain conversations. You don't need all the conversation in the world, but I have seen you. And if you don't know this, art department has to be looking at the camera, has to be looking at what the shot is. It's not, you don't just do the
Decorate and
room
leave.
and leave. You do the room, and then you see where they put the camera, and you're like, oh man, let me move that tree over there so I can get a little bit of the tree. The drinks aren't filled enough, or the wine bottle wasn't there before, or that's not your job, but it's kind of all of our jobs. But the idea that everything that the camera sees is your responsibility, and as a result of that, you have to cheat things so that they make it into the camera.
Yeah, when we do Christmas movies, there's a phrase you hear all the time: Christmas in every frame.
Right.
And it's a matter of cheating for camera. So when the camera's set up, you kind of push the Christmas decor into it in a more prevalent way, and that's how you get the magic of that beautiful, feel-good Christmas movie. That visually stunning and just is appealing to people.
Well, luckily, I think part of also working with a team of people is that you know what it's going to cost. There's a lot of times as a producer or as a director, you go and you make a movie and you're working with someone new, and all of a sudden you're $40,000 over budget. And you're like, how did that happen? No one knows, but you're a moving train. So you got to figure it out later. But in the end of it, everyone's gone and the producer is left there with just another overpriced bill that you didn't have in the budget to begin with. But that's why if you're wondering why we all work together all the time, and you get your team together, is because you know what to expect from them and they know what to expect from you. I can't afford to pay that, therefore you're going to do it on the budget that I have. And we've experienced that together. And by the way, you've always been awesome about it. I've never had a problem with your department.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're honing on something that goes back to the very beginnings of filmmaking. You have the artistic and the money people. Being artistic sometimes needs more finances to create the vision. I think it's a juggling thing that you have to do as a filmmaker, because you are given a budget and you're expected to keep to that budget. It is a problem that every filmmaker in the world has to deal with, unless you have your own production company. You can write your own checks, but still you have a finite bank account, and that is the problem that every film that we touch, we have to balance that somehow or another. And doing it creatively is, what I have to sometimes come up with alternatives to, look at other options. But it's very important. If you want to survive in this business, you need to abide by that struggle.
Well, it's tough too, because it's time. It's time and it's energy. And if you go over schedule and over budget, that becomes an issue too, as Gemma will tell you. Gemma Jones, a great line producer we work with all the time. So yeah, it's a dance. But I think if you build your team, you get on a team that you feel comfortable with, not only does your job get more creative and fun, but the job that you're doing for someone else also becomes fun, because then like someone like myself is able to maneuver the budget and make sure that we all make a little money and we all go home not in debt or in trouble. Although I gotta say, working with Netflix, definitely a sack of money solved most of the problems.
Yes.
Take it easy.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about. Not more importantly, but as important is music for us anyway. We work with a company called extrememusic.com who handles all of our music needs. I don't know if you ever heard of them, extrememusic.com.
No.
You wouldn't have to. You might have to someday.
Yeah.
But
good to know.
it's good to know. Extrememusic.com has the most amazing library of composers, of songwriters, and you can find anything on there, from classical, Tchaikovsky. I mean, literally every type of music that you might think about for your movie, it's on there. So check out extrememusic.com for all your music needs. They're incredible, and they're big supporters of our show.
And Robert, you brought up a good point about the cigars. Are you a cigar smoker?
Yeah, I got into that wave in the 90s.
Yeah. So we're at a really cool spot called the Library.
Okay.
Here in Studio City. Our guy Vic runs the place. He lets us shoot here. If you get a chance, check him out on IG. It's a private club, so it's not not a lot of riffraff.
It's a speakeasy.
It's kind of like it's a whole thing.
It's you gotta have a special knock.
They don't let this guy in. I got to vouch for him. Yeah, look at him.
I'm trouble.
You're in trouble.
But yeah, check them out. It's the Library.
The Library
Here in Studio City.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any advice for anybody wanting to get into your business?
Yeah, I mean, you need to expand your network, and that requires, I even as a production designer, I go on big projects as a PA still on the art team because I want to be able to meet other filmmakers in my department and actually create a roster of people I may need, and learn about other people's talents. So, again, it goes back to getting on set, taking the minimum wage just to be around filmmakers because you have the opportunity, if you want to be a production designer, you have the ability to sit there on set and ask an actual production designer, how do you do things? What do you do? What are your advice? Or if you want to be a cinematographer, you can ask that person that holds a camera, can you explain to me what you do and how to get involved? And that is the most important thing to do is just be on set.
All right.
Even if it becomes, if you have to be a crafty PA, making sure everyone has the snacks and drinks, that allows you to have access to the filmmakers that will eventually, hopefully, help you in life.
That's awesome. Well, good advice. What about student films? Do you recommend people working on student films?
I used to do them even when I was doing these big, theatrical release movies. I went to UCLA and UCLA, both schools, so I do have a network there.
Wait, you went to UCLA and what?
USC.
UCLA and USC. You
Well,
said UCLA and UCLA. I was like, wow. That's amazing.
no.
Is there two different versions?
Well, I went to business school at USC, film school at UCLA, and then I got my MBA at Pepperdine. So
That's a lot of money.
Dang.
it's a lot of money, and maybe I can make more money doing other things besides filmmaking, but it's all about expressing yourself and doing things that you're passionate about. Do I want to sit there in a boardroom, going through a business plan and explaining how to do acquisitions? Or I can be on set hanging out, with Mark Roberts and everyone
Smoking
else.
cigars.
And,
Or you can be on set
it.
creating a set where someone's pitching a boardroom with
True.
a bunch of
Look at that.
the exact
Look
scenario
at
you just said, but on film. Well, it's awesome to have you here. We've never had a production designer on, so this is kind of cool. Hopefully you guys get something out of this. No matter what, if you're a filmmaker, you need production design. It's important to even get someone to volunteer. If you think you don't need it or can't afford it, get someone to volunteer to help you see what's in your camera, see what's the camera's seeing, so that someone can go like, oh, that thing's out of place. That thing on the wall shouldn't be there. The TV's not on. Like, those are literally things that the production team tells you. Get out there, keep working, keep trying, keep volunteering, and find out what you love. And hopefully that'll help out. Thanks for being here, Robert. Really appreciate it.
Hey.
Hey.
See you on the next film.
Yes, and
I'll
thanks,
see you in the
Davey Dave.
lobby with Davey Davis. They're throwing them back.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next time on Film Hustlers.